with the cold weather, there seems to be a lot of technical issues. Laidlaw, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, Laidlaw, well, I'm glad we are able to connect now. Laidlaw, let's just talk about this recognition by Germany with regard to the colonial era massacres. And we know that people in Namibia and you yourself are angry, you are disappointed. What are the issues?
We are actually well happy that Germany has acknowledged that what they did in 1904 and 1908 was a genocide. But we are actually angry because the affected communities was not included in part of the discussions of what has actually transpired now. It was kept between the two government, the German government and the Namibian government. So we feel that we were not part of the discussions, and we were deliberately, excluded from that.
Yes, now we've also heard that obviously as you mentioned, 1904 to 1908, and we know that many people were killed by German soldiers. Thousands of people were actually killed, and we've also learned that these negotiations have been taking on for a number of years, and we've now heard about $1.3 billion in financial aid that has been pledged to the Namibian government over a 30-year period.
Yeah, it's true that there's such an amount that will be given through development aid to the so affected community. But for us, we feel that money, it's small because our people were confined to concentration camps. Our people were taken to Tokon, Cameroon, which was former German colonies. And Germany itself, it has violated Article 6 and Article 9 of the General Acts of the Berlin Conference of 1885, which states that slaves and transit of slaves is prohibited. And as you know very well, Germany is the one that have organized the Berlin Conference of 1884-85. Otto von Bismarck was one of the gentlemen that have organized that. And at the same time, they have violated the General Acts of the Berlin Conference, and a lot of our people were actually massacred, were almost exterminated from the face of the earth, because they were actually fighting for a war of resistance. They were fighting for their land, which was forcefully, taken from them.
Yes, and I think the other critical issue here is one knows the consequences of colonization, and even the money that Germany is talking about. Obviously, there are concerns as to where and how this money will be spent, because the key issue here is people who have lost their land. And I know you're talking about land, and these are people who have lived in poverty for a very, very long time. So ultimately, it is about who is going to benefit most out of this money that Germany wants, obviously, to provide in terms of financial aid.
Yeah, definitely the affected community will, because the things currently right now, we don't trust our government because there's too much corruption here, and we know very well that that money of that development aid will not come to the affected community. And another thing is also, the German descendants who are staying in Namibia, they own more than 60% of commercial land, while the majority of the affected communities, are staying in informal settlements, in shacks and ghettos. And we wanted, even the affected community to be part of the parcel of the discussion, as well as the Germans who are staying in Namibia must also was supposed to be part of that, so that we can sit around the table and can iron out of these things. Because a lot of people are angry, and the way I see, it will actually not be right. Some people will go in and put structures on those farms, because some of those farms, they are still having indigenous name, and some of our ancestors was buried there. So that land is very sacred, and we were supposed to. The two governments were supposed to include the affected community as well as the Germans who are staying here.
Yes. Now, obviously, going forward, where to from here, Laidlaw?
Um, I understand that next week the Namibian government will bring this matter to the National Assembly about that Germany has announced that it's a genocide and that they are going to give some money for development aid.
Well, let's see what develops, Laidlaw. But for now, thank you very much for coming on and for your time with us here on Use It Views and Salam Media. All the best to you.
Mm. Thank you very much.
Laidlaw Peringanda joining us this morning, just talking about Namibia. And I think this is where, when we talk about colonialism and we look at the entire African continent and also right across the entire world, where countries have colonized by these colonizers, and obviously they've left a lot of destruction behind. They've left these countries in a state of poverty, and also in terms of what the available resources that many of these countries have, they still want to have their finger in the pie. And sometimes just recognizing the fact that colonialism, obviously the damage done by colonialism, asking for forgiveness is not enough, because we are talking about generations and generations of people that have suffered as a result of the theft that has taken place in terms of resources, in terms of land. And this is clearly a classic case here in Namibia, where ancestral land that they are talking about, they've lost their ancestral land, which they hold near and dear to them. And at the end of the day, is this a true reconciliation? Well, I'm going to leave you with that question. We come back. We still have got quite a bit to come, and this includes our interview this morning with Ronnie Castles. We're talking about the chief rabbi urging Muslims to ensure tolerance, and also we'll be talking with Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, Rahima Musa Hospital, and the achievement there of Gift of the Givers in terms of addressing the water crisis.